Hello, and welcome to Douche Gaming. I'm Bryce, and today I'm just going to be talking about my personal preferences over what my top favorite games were of this year, because I'm selfish, and I like to talk about what I like to talk about, so fuck you. Todd would have done this too, but no, he didn't want to do it, so he's sitting over there like a bitch.
Todd would have done this too, but no, he didn't want to do it, so he's sitting over there like a bitch. Todd would have done this too, but no, he didn't want to do it, so he's sitting over there like a bitch.
Todd would have done this too, but no, he didn't want to do it, so he's sitting over there like a bitch.
He's just moaning away, pleasuring himself like a bitch.
Yep.
So I'm just going to be talking about my favorite games of this year, top 10. These games did not have to come out this year. I just, these are just games that I played a lot this year. So number 10, fucking started off with a game called Oxenfree. OlliOlli Oxenfree. It's basically, how do I describe it? It's like a story-driven game where you make choices about being a person on an island. You're like a teenager, and you go on this trip with other teenagers to this island that's supposedly just abandoned. And you're like, oh, it's so fun because we're teenagers and we're fucking going to this island that's abandoned, and we get to drink and get drunk and eat pot brownies and shit. And it's very Telltale game-like because it's all about the choices you make in terms of like direction-wise, so where you physically go, and also what you say. And I thought it was fun because the story itself was actually it was kind of dumb at first. I didn't know how to feel about it, but then as it got later on, it was more suspenseful because it was like kind of has to do with like ghosts and shit, and like not zombies, not undead zombies, but like the undead in terms of like spirits talking to you through like technology and shit. So it's kind of cheesy. It's kind of like going through a movie of like a really cheesy teen 90s horror flick. It's kind of what it was like, but I thought it was really enjoyable. There's multiple endings too, and I always like it when there's games like that. So yeah, Oxenfree, good game. I enjoyed it, but it's not the best because it's at number 10 for a reason. So number 9, Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Yes, Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Simply put, you're a kid, you shoot tears at things, and there's an item that makes you piss on enemies. What more is needed to be said? Actually, there's a lot more that needs to be said. Simply put, this game's good because it's got variety. I don't think I need to basically go into too much detail because most people should know what this game is by now. If you don't, then what are you doing with yourself, you sack of shit? Yeah. And also the fact that, unlike the original Binding of Isaac, there's a lot more items, there's a lot more bosses, the rooms that you go in are a lot larger. It's fucking incredible. It's amazing. Actually, you know what? That reminds me, I also don't need to give it too much detail, because we're going to put a bunch of footage of these games on the screen anyway, so, yeah, suck a dick. Don't bitch at me because I didn't give you descriptions and shit. So Binding of Isaac Rebirth, yeah, number 9. What a good game. I think it came out last year anyway, but yeah, like I said, it didn't have to come out this year, but I did play shit tons of it. I think over 48 hours I've definitely played of that game this year. Okay. Sorry, just choking on dick. Okay, so number 8, Shovel Knight. Holy crap, what a game. I'm not going to keep saying simply put. This game was very nice. I like platformers that are well done. And this game nails it in the head. Not to mention that the art style is very beautiful for being pixelated. It's very nice looking. The music, I think, is the biggest part of this game, or for me, besides the gameplay. It's so damn great to listen to. Just freaking makes me cream my pants every time I think about it. And listen to it, that is, So yeah, Shovel Knight, also a really great experience. It's a fun game to record as well. I think I enjoyed it more actually because rather than playing it in one go, I ended up playing it over the course of the entire year, or like 6 months, because of the fact that I was trying to record it, so I didn't really play it in my off time. So by doing that, I think I gave myself more time to sort of ingest the information from the game. So yeah, it's nice. Plus there's upgrades and other shit that sort of makes it more enjoyable because it gives you goals to work towards. And the ending's quite nice. And yeah, it's just overall really, really fun game. But I think the reason why it ends up at number 8 on the list though is because while it's an amazing game, I think, like, for me personally, it's a bit short. But I can't say that technically because there's DLC that I have not played yet. So when I get to that point, maybe I could revise the list, but I can't at this point because we're near the end of the year, and the list is already made, and I'm talking about it right now, so number 8 for Shovel Knight, that's where it stays. Number 7 is No Man's Sky. I've been hyped for this game for, like, a year and a half, maybe more than that. But yeah, the trailers made the game look beautiful, the music was awesome. The fact that I'm addicted to anything space related and exploration, and the fact that this game is so well done in terms of, like, it's so to scale. I love that. I just love being able to get in my ship and fly up and then just see nothing but the empty void of death and despair and amazingness. It's incredible. I absolutely love it. So I don't know. Like, I like the fact that there is actually a story to it in a couple different senses. You have multiple goals that you can work towards. It's not just exploration, because I think that would get a bit repetitive after a while, even if I do find it incredible. And, no matter what, I've just loved it for, however fucking long I've been playing it. Still haven't beaten it yet. So the fact that, I think that's why it doesn't end up higher on the list, is because I haven't had more time to just to ingest more of it. But still, really fantastic. Really, just sort of like, it's something new in that sort of area of gaming, I think, or in that the whole, not randomly generated, but what's it called again? Not randomly. No Man's Sky. It's not randomly generated, but procedurally generated. Yes. So in that area, the fact that, I don't know, like, there's just so much variety. I cannot stress enough how cool it is. Obviously, it's a bit illogical. There's a lot of things that don't make sense in the game, like how close planets are together in a system, and to say that those are all the planets in that one system. But I think it's safe to say that it's alright to ignore that in this case, because we're not looking for accuracy, we're looking for fun, because that's what games are about. So, yeah, No Man's Sky, number 7. And at number 6, Dark Souls 2. I know what you're probably thinking, how could Dark Souls 2 surpass No Man's Sky? Well, for one, I played a lot more Dark Souls 2 than I have No Man's Sky, and the fact that I haven't played, or I haven't beaten the entirety of the other 2 Dark Souls yet, or Demon Souls or Bloodborne or any of those. So Dark Souls 2 is the first Souls game that I've beaten. I've played Dark Souls 1, but I haven't beaten it yet. So Dark Souls 2 I spent the most time in, I've enjoyed it a lot. And a lot of people said that it's the worst game in the whole Souls series, but I think that's fine, because if that's the case, then I think it's a good way to start, for me, into that series. And by the way, by playing Dark Souls 2, it has made me fall in love with Dark Souls. It's, oh my god, it's amazing. So, I love it, yeah. Just, once again, the variety in weapons, the fact that you can be evil or not evil, or just whatever, no matter what, it's cool. And the boss is, once again, what Dark Souls is known for, I think, is incredible. And I went into Dark Souls with better, well, no, I shouldn't say that. So, with Dark Souls 2, a lot of reasons why people play Dark Souls is because they keep hearing everyone say, oh, it's so hard, it's going to make you, like, rip your dick off and shit. Well, I didn't go into Dark Souls with that mindset, because I realized that, games should be played for the fun of it. And Dark Souls 2, or just Dark Souls in general, I guess, what I can safely say is that, I feel like I enjoyed it more because I went into it with the mindset of that, it's just another game, and that, I should focus more on the actual substance and character of the game, not so much the fact that it's going to be hard or difficult. And difficulty, it does add a lot to it, don't get me wrong, it is a difficult game, but I feel like that's not the sole thing you should be focusing on with this game, because it has a very deep, rich story that is very interesting, I think, which I need to catch up on. And that's why I can't wait to play Dark Souls 1, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and Dark Souls 3. I'm fucking excited for that. So yeah, Dark Souls 2 at number 6. Transition. At number 5. The granddaddy of all games, I think. Skyrim at number 5. Once again, this game came out 5 years ago. and I've been playing it ever since. It's the game in which I've played the most of in my entire life, my short 17-year life so far. And the amount of time I've got on it is over 2,300 hours, I think. I don't know the exact number, but it's a lot of time I've spent playing Skyrim. And this is, keep in mind, this is on Xbox. This is not modded in any way, and it's been able to entertain me for that long. So I don't know what it is, like just the environment, the characters, everything you can do. It's sure it may not be GTA or anything, but it's still, I don't know. I don't know how to explain how it's been able to, just keep my attention for so long. But yeah, Skyrim. If you don't know what that is, you should know by now. So, I mean, fucking A, Skyrim's just amazing. And I can't really say much on the special edition so far, because I don't know anything about it really, other than that it's supposed to have updated graphics. My English is dying. Excuse my French English bullshit. So, Skyrim. Great game. 4. Mass Effect 2. I wish I could choose the entire trilogy and just put it into slot 4, but I can't. So, we're going with Mass Effect 2. Why? I think it's because it's kind of like the pinnacle of the series for me. I know Mass Effect 3 is very epic and very just like a good finale, but Mass Effect 2, I feel like, takes the cake for me. Just because, like, I don't know, towards the end, I think the end mission that you do, which is called the Suicide Mission, is amazing. Because as an RPG, in most RPGs, you sort of get, like, followers and shit. And in Mass Effect 2, you get this team together to do this quote-unquote suicide mission. And at the end, your followers can or cannot possibly, or will not possibly die, depending on how you structure this mission. You tell people to do certain jobs, and depending on whether they're suited for that job or whether you've helped them out previously and have their morale standings, just sort of like, if you made that, anyway, if you've improved them over time, including your ship and everything, then there's a possibility that you may or may not die. Like, it's really cool, and that will affect how it goes into Mass Effect 3. And I think that's really cool, how the Mass Effect series, your choices in the previous games will affect majorly how the game goes in the future. So yeah, and I think that's a really awesome thing to have in a game, which also brings me to the point, I'm excited for Mass Effect Andromeda, because I feel like it's either going to become another Dragon Age Inquisition. By the way, I hate Dragon Age Inquisition, or at least I like it, but for the wrong reasons. Not going to go into that right now. But, anyway, like, it's either going to be that, or it's going to be fucking incredible. Hopefully BioWare gets their shit together and makes a really good game out of it. So yeah, excited for that. And so yeah, Mass Effect 2 at number 4. Number 3, Enter the Gungeon. Gotta say, I was very skeptical about this game at first, because I thought, well, it looks kind of like, another, another Binding of Isaac-like game. And in a way it is, but it's much more than that, I feel. The fact that all the enemies are actually quite adorable. They're like anthropomorphic bullets that shoot other bullets at you, so I don't know what that, it's very strange. I don't know. It's very like bulletception-y. Just the fact, I don't know, it's just got a lot more. I think Binding of Isaac, its character relies more on like the scary, creepy, gross side of things, and then Enter the Gungeon is more like cheerful, cheesy, funny, and silly type side, and I like that. And I like fucked up shit sometimes. It just depends. So Binding of Isaac is good, but Enter the Gungeon, in terms of its variety, I think in its sort of its character, where the end of the spectrum that it's on, I like that a lot more. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time with Enter the Gungeon. It's more time than Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It is fantastic. So yeah, my voice is cracking a lot. Excuse that. Anyway, number 2, we're getting closer. Hyper Light Drifter. Holy shit, this game. Once again, like I said about how music is a very important thing to me when it comes to games, I think Hyper Light Drifter takes the cake on that end, because it affects the atmosphere so much in terms of how the game is played, and your emotions with the game kind of run in tandem with how the music is going. And so not just the music, but also the gameplay. It's like, it sort of reminds me how, if Dark Souls was a top-down, 2D, pixelated sci-fi game rather than medieval 3D. And that's what Hyper Light Drifter is to me, kind of. It's got the same difficulty that reminds me of Dark Souls. It focuses a lot on that. It's got bosses that are very memorable. It's melee combat based, but you do have guns. It's sci-fi. Can't have sci-fi without like laser blasters and other shit. And also, just like, the story is interesting because there's no talking in the entire game. It's all sort of like imagery that the story is told through. It's all images and stuff, which I think is an interesting way of doing things. I like it when there's a lot of obscurity and a lot left to the player to sort of like try and figure it out. I like that. So yeah, Hyper Light Drifter is a very atmospheric and very beautiful game, even for being as bloody as the game can be at times and as enraging as it can be. It is at my top 2, or it's at number 2 for a reason, because it's so good. So yeah, and I hope they add more content to it in the future, because it is spectacular, and I don't think it's long enough. But of course, that's just me, and I think everyone thinks that for any game they find absolutely amazing. So yeah, we've come down to it. Number one. And that is Dishonored. Dishonored is my number 1. Not Dishonored 2, which has come out this year. Just came out yesterday, actually. But the original Dishonored. I don't remember the year the original came out. I thought it was like 2012 or 2011, around Skyrim time. I might be a bit wrong on that. But anyway, Dishonored, I owned the complete special edition with all the DLC for 2 years. And I never really played it. I never really got into it. But then recently, earlier this year, I just thought, man, that's sitting there collecting dust. I should play it. I played through it, and holy fuck. I love dystopian type settings where it's just like a giant... Because you're in the city of Dunwall. And it's, a city that's been ravaged by plague, by the assassination of the Empress, and you play as her bodyguard, or you were, until you get framed for her murder. You didn't actually kill her, and you become this assassin. And depending on how you play the game, whether it's really aggressive or really passive and sneaky, it will affect the outcome of the game. Whether you make the city worse and more civilians die because of the plague and shit, or whether you make it really light again. And anyway, the game I think is very smooth. The upgrade system where you can get abilities and powers is really cool, especially with Blink, which is like a teleport power, and that's really fun to just sneak up behind someone with that and just slit their throat open and then throw them off a cliff, and then all the civilians on below where you just threw them will be like, oh my god, there's a dead guy here, and then they'll go sound the alarm and shit. And I don't know, it's very reactive, it's very good, it's very smooth. So yeah, Dishonored, that entire type of world is something that I just love immediately whenever I come across it, because dystopian and because it's obviously fiction, but it's realistic fiction with Dishonored. It's it takes place in a time where the technology is between sort of the turning of the century, so it's kind of between 1800s and 1900s, I guess, a little bit, because there's a lot of steam powered stuff, but there's a lot of futuristic type stuff, so I guess steampunk is a very good way to describe it. So yeah, Dishonored, my number 1 of 2016. Even if I didn't play it as long as other games in this list, it got my jammies going, my Jimmy Jammies jammelin' for this. I don't even know if that makes sense. Anyway, I loved it a lot. Dishonored is a great game. So yeah, if you haven't played any of these games on this list, although I would expect you have, but if you haven't, play it, enjoy it, have a great time, and I hope you enjoyed this list of my personal FAP material for this year. So anyway, this has been Bryce from Douche Gaming, where we're douches so you don't have to be, and I'll see you next time, you sacks of shitskis.